Welcome to We Come From the Future, a podcast about inspiring people from the future. Today, we brought a counterfactual thinker from the future. She has spent over 25 years working across 3 continents in over 30 countries, and her journey as an entrepreneur began in Romania. Vandana built cross-cultural teams. She scaled and sold 2 businesses in education and settled in India nearly 2 decades ago. She has become a catalyst for systemic transformation, advising conglomerates like the Tata Group and shaping leadership at international levels. She's one of the most respected voices in India, a top 100 India-UK influencers, honoured with an OBE from Her Majesty the late Queen of England for services to trade and investment in India in 2008. A true disruptive thinker, Vandana co-authored a book named Let Me Hijack Your Mind with the late acclaimed advertising guru, Ellie Padamesi. She is currently writing another book with a billionaire on which skills you need to develop in every decade of your life in order to be successful in the following decade. As the founder of the Human Alarm Clock, she helps people and institutions recalibrate, not just to survive the future, but to stay deeply human in it. Today, Vandana is helping thousands of people around the world to rewrite their future. And her business card, instead of saying CEO, it says Chief Alarmist. I can't wait to hear what that means and how you're building the future with the people at heart, Vandana. Oh my God, you are finally here, where it all began. And you've certainly changed my life. And I was your first recruit in the first company you've set up in 96?
1997.
1997 in Romania. So how do you now change people's lives?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. This is just fascinating. How do I change people's lives? I think at the end of the day, it all starts with what's going on inside us. And I think we have an alarm clock inside us. And what I do is wake people up. So I'm called the Human Alarm Clock because Alec Badamsi, who I wrote the book with, Let Me Hijack Your Mind, he actually, in his later years, he wasn't very well. And I would go and visit him, and we'd be thinking about how, as human beings, we've outsourced our thinking to technology, to the internet, to society. And our aim was to get people to figure out how to hijack it back and bring it back into ourselves. And every time I'd go and see him, he would say to me, "You wake me up. You're like an alarm clock." And I said, I'm a human alarm clock, and I'm like an alarm. So I'm really the chief alarmist in your life. And he burst out laughing and he goes, "That you are." So that's where the name came from. And that's why I'm the chief alarmist. I help wake people up and get them to think differently.
Oh my God, you do wake people up, and I've seen that happen all over the years. But really, like, how do you do that? What tools have you got? How do you do it?
What I noticed, Laura, so I've lived, as you said, I grew up in the UK. I then moved to Romania, spent 10 years in Eastern Europe, and then came to India. And I've worked with people from street cleaners to royalty. And what I always did was I looked at people and I looked at when I suddenly saw magic in their eyes, what made them like really smile, just wake up. And what would happen is I would see people who were miserable, and then I'd ask them a question. Suddenly they'd wake up, and then they'd go back to being dull again. But it was a slightly less duller. So I knew something happened in that moment of waking them up. And if you like, I will give you an example of that right now.
Okay.
Are you up for
Sure.
it? Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you some really simple questions, and I want you to answer me honestly. And from what you're saying, I'm going to work out what's really waking you up. Are you up for it?
Right, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to imagine it's a Sunday morning.
I just want our viewers to realize that this is completely impromptu. We haven't practiced this. This is like completely happening to me live today. Well, on a very interesting day, which is my 50th birthday. So thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing that so spontaneously here.
Yeah, well, okay. So I want you to imagine it's a Sunday morning, and I know that you've got 3 kids. You've got the twins, and you've got a younger daughter.
Yeah.
And I want you to imagine for a minute that the twins and Liz have gone out.
Okay.
And they've left you a note saying, Mama, we've gone out for the day. We won't be back until late in the evening. Do whatever you want to do. And you are not going to do any work.
Okay.
What do you choose to do?
Well, that's easy. I'd probably go and play golf.
Okay.
Because it's really hot outside, so I'll probably do that early in the morning.
Okay.
And then I know I'll definitely be meeting people and enjoy lunch with them after playing golf together.
Okay.
And then I'll probably just go back home and read and write and just chill and relax. Probably I'll just spend a day with people, half a day with my friends, and then or whoever I'll be meeting there, and then
you'll
half
come
a day
back.
on my own.
And then half a day on your own.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so tell me something. You mentioned golf first of all. What is it that you really enjoy about playing golf?
Oh God, there are 2 things I absolutely love about golf. I think the first thing is that it helps me connect with myself. It helps me find that silence. Because if I think about anything, be it the kids or work or anything, I just can't hit the ball. So I have to be really relaxed so that my body can actually get in touch with the club and touch the ball. So that's the first thing. It just it brings me into the now through that movement. And then it also opens up community there, because I know a lot of people, and there are so many people I don't know. So it's the benefit for my body, and it's the benefit for the network that I'm creating, that I'm building when I'm there. Because I meet young people, really old people. I can play with people my age or teenagers, or last week I played with an 85-year-old gentleman. So it's a fabulous community.
So you talked about playing golf with lots of different types of people. You talked about focus on, getting your body. You can't think about anything else. So I would say there's a couple of things that I see, and this is what I do. This is how I wake people up, is I look beyond the activities that they're doing, and I look to what's really resonating with them inside. And I believe that everyone's got a vibration, and there's certain activities that kind of raise your vibrations. So to me, when you were talking about golf, when I heard you just now, the word that came to my mind is harmony. So harmony is something that I think actually drives you. And if you notice, when I said it, the first thing you did was this, which meant, and it was just your body did that because it was something that meant something to you. And then the other one, and I'm sure I'm going to get a reaction now, is belonging.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Totally. Yeah, it is.
Now, do you see your whole face went softer? That's your body resonating with a word. It's not golf. It's that feeling you get. And that's what I concentrate on. That's how I wake people up. We're living in this world today where we are literally on a conveyor belt, or we're on a wheel. We're in a rat race. We've forgotten who we are as people. And what I do is bring people back. So that's the purpose. So I think belonging and harmony are very much driving you.
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely not performance. It's actually staying away from the competitiveness and the performance to just being there in harmony and belonging to a community.
Yeah.
So right. I interrupted you. Go on.
Yeah, no, sorry. And I was just going to say, I'm trying to find the other one that I know from you. When you spend time by yourself, I know one of the things that you do is reading. And I think this is one of your core values as well.
Oh, curiosity, absolutely, yeah. Well, now it shows that we've known each other for almost 30 years. Yeah, indeed.
And so like that, there are things that are driving us that we don't even realize. We put it down to golf. Golf is a manifestation of you raising your vibration. What's actually happening is you're finding harmony in the environment and harmony with yourself. And you're creating belonging by meeting different people. You're curious about different people to create some kind of belonging. That's what I do.
Wow, that's stunning, Vandana. So all that through the human alarm clock, you're using, I see you have these cards, this deck of cards and a kit that you've brought along.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is, truly waking me up as to why I've been doing that.
Yeah. And most people don't know why they do what they do. So you might have heard of, he's an American guy called, American-Hungarian called Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. He wrote a book called Flow. And flow is all about how you get into that state where, you know how tennis players and sporting stars, even if they're at match point, they have this complete, focus. That's what we call flow. They're in a flow. And, we often say, oh, I was in the flow. How do you get into flow? His book is brilliant about explaining flow. This is how you get into flow. You figure out what really resonates with you, what raises your vibration. And if you can bring those activities together, like you do with golf, you bring harmony and community and belonging together, and your curiosity, you're just in the zone. So I help people figure out what their zone is, wake them up, chief alarmist, wake them up and figure out what their zone is.
Oh, that's brilliant. And how, you've done that with me. How do you do that in a corporate environment? How does that actually work? Because, okay, I understand myself better, but how is that helping me interact better with the others? How is that building bridges with the others? Because, okay, I understand myself. How does that help everybody else?
So I'll give you an example. Can you tell me what makes you angry?
What makes me really angry is people who are ignorant of the other people's needs, who are very selfish and just kind of focus on themselves.
Okay.
I think selfish people, ignorant, that really gets me.
Okay.
Are you paying attention?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find the cards because I work better with them. So there we go. Those are the two that I wanted. So it sounds to me like people who are disrespectful in some way.
Oh, absolutely.
Or people who are unfair.
Oh,
in
yes.
some way.
I would go for that
so
one.
Again, did you see your expression?
Just.
Yeah, it's like that, right. So you now know.
I need to take a step back and think where they're coming from before I react.
So what I teach people is, what your core values are. Your core values also come from what triggers you. So when you see a compromise in fairness, you will get angry. But now you have the vocabulary. So you can say to somebody, I feel what you did was really unfair. And it violated one of my core values. I would like to build trust with you or belonging with you, because that's another one of my core values. How do we take this situation to a situation where we can create belonging or trust? So it gives you a vocabulary to work out, I know what my core values are. Now, how can I align mine with the activity that's happened? How can I deal with the conflict? And actually, most of the time, when somebody's being unfair, they're doing it out of insecurity or they're doing it because they're desperate for something else. And when you call them on it in a very calm way and just say, I felt that this was really unfair, they actually start listening. And if you're really calm about it, they shift because you've shifted. So you stop getting angry, you don't get defensive, You just say, I feel that was unfair. Show me how that is being fair, or show me how we can rebuild after that. So what I teach corporates, first of all, is you've got to work out your own values, which becomes your inner compass. And then you look at how your compass reacts with everyone else's. And you find resonance in the dissonance. That's what I teach them to do. And to be really honest, I only work with one company. It happens to be... I only work with one company, but it happens to be one of India's largest companies. It's the Tata Group. They have over 1 million employees, and they really believe in their values. And so it's very easy for me to work with them because they're very values driven. And what I'm doing is I'm running programs for them in all parts of their organization. And now we're translating into different languages as well. Because I really want to get it working in an organization that is not looking to commoditize values, who's not going to say, oh, I measured you today and your belonging was 60%. It doesn't work like that. But I work with them, and I also work with individuals to help them figure out what their values are, and then how they can use their values to deal with conflict.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I do get it that understanding when you're mapping your values, that if they're completely different to someone else, that can build dissonance and separation rather than unite people. Yes. And you're doing actually the opposite by, putting things on the table and understanding each other and creating. But how do you make somebody shift and build that calmness to take in somebody with different values and actually accept and integrate all that?
So one of the things that the companies I work with do is they actually have a pack of cards in each of the meeting rooms, and they pick randomly 3 at the beginning of a meeting, especially if they know it's going to be heated, and they say, we're going to use these as values in the discussion.
Oh, I'll definitely choose the last 2. They're going to help respect and fairness. Are we doing that?
But it could be any of them. You could just pick one randomly. Unity.
Fabulous. That's Chance is choosing unity. Yeah. How do you create unity? What other programs do you do or do you run in order to bring that unity in teams? Or
so the primary one is invaluable, but the other one I do is I don't talk about networking. Everyone talks about networking, and for me, networking is very transactional. I talk about building a people ecosystem. So if you think about ecosystems that exist, we think of nature. Nature's an amazing ecosystem. A seed needs the earth, needs water, needs the sun to be able to grow. Well, human beings do not exist in a vacuum. We need others, whether it is sunny people or stormy people, we need others to be able to grow. And so I teach people about ecosystems and how to work and build a people ecosystem. And fundamentally, it's all about, it doesn't matter who the other person is, you can find common ground. And when you find common ground between the two, everything changes. It could be the books you read. It could be the places you like to visit. It could be anything. But you can take one random stranger, and I promise you, you will find something in common if you want to. Oh, and that's what I do.
I totally hear that, Vandana. But, you've lived in Romania for 3 years, even if it's a while ago.
It feels like yesterday coming back here. I have to tell you.
I know.
It absolutely feels like yesterday.
Having been in touch all these years, I know you had these really successful companies in finance and accounting education, and yet you've shifted to bring invaluable, to build human ecosystems, as you call them. What made you make such a shift? Because I'm just really curious, because when you're so successful at doing something, which you were in Central Eastern Europe and then in India, and you were so respected in the accountancy profession, you were a chartered accountant, and this is completely different. Yeah. What shifted?
Well, at the end of the day, I just felt that we weren't measuring the right things. A balance sheet may balance cash, it may balance assets, but the most important capital on this planet is social capital. The most important thing is how we feel inside. And we have no way of working out how we balance and how we recalibrate. And I could see people who honestly went from having nothing to being billionaires, and they still weren't happy. So money clearly isn't the answer. So then I started studying, what is it that keeps us happy? What is it that keeps us not just happy, because happy is temporary as well, just what keeps us constantly peaceful, harmonious, as you have. And what I found was I needed to go deeper. And the answer was always inside. It's inside everyone. If you can figure out what your vibration is, you don't need money, you don't need anything. And I saw this in India. I saw that the poorest people live next to the richest people, and they don't have malice. Oh, that person's got a $10 billion house. No, they really don't. They're just like, they have their life and I have mine. And there was more happiness in the slums in India than there was in some of the richest houses I went into. That's really where everything shifted. It's like, wow. And when people are in that state where they're accepting and they kind of not surrender to their conditions, everyone's always looking at making them better. But when they were in that state, they could do so much more and they were so much happier.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're telling me is that being wealthy doesn't create your welfare and your well-being state.
It's not being wealthy at all.
But from your well-being state,
Yes.
you can actually create a lot of wealth and welfare.
Yeah.
So if you start with you, then everything, to quote you, shifts.
Yeah,
Is that
everything
right?
shifts. That is, and health is wealth at the end of the day. It's not monetary wealth. It's like mental wealth, health wealth, spiritual wealth. It's some connection, whether you call it God or the universe or whatever. We came from something and we've created this world that we're living in, but is this the world we really want to live in?
How would that world we really want to live in
How would it look?
How would it look?
That's
Because we come from the future. So what does the future look like for you, Vandana?
That's such a good question. So interestingly, I have thought about that. And I have in my head 7 different worlds. I have 7 different dimensions. So I've written this crazy story to explore, right? Because I couldn't find the answers in this world. And I realized that the most powerful thing that I had was actually my imagination. And I think if we speculate in a visionary way, as opposed to a dystopian way, everything we see is dystopian around us. Everything is kind of negative at the moment. But what if we shifted that to speculating in a visionary way? What could the world look like? And so I came up with this crazy science fiction series, which is about this teenage girl called Ojas, who lives in a fictitious city in India. She has parents who are university professors. And by the way, they've actually done a semester exchange in Bucharest. So I have Bucharest in the book. And she's very unhappy with life. And she doesn't know why, right? And she finds out that her parents are actually from other planets and they've been sent by an intergalactic institute to Earth to figure out why humans are intent on killing themselves. And aliens from all over the universe go and study at this intergalactic institute. And the aliens that study come from these other worlds. And this gives me the ideas of how Earth could be different. So, for example, she finds out that her mother is from a planet where any baby that dies on Earth, in the womb, its energy goes to another planet and is born there. But because we're killing so many female babies in India, China, South America, and Africa, that planet is and always has been 80% female. If you think that 80% of our history has been written by men and about men, 80% of religion has been written by men. 80%, and this is nothing against men. This is just
it's
fact.
just the way it is.
History, religion, literature, law, it's all been written 80% by men. What if it had always been written, Laura, 80% by women? I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect world, but it's just a comparison. Would you have
certainly
work?
going to be different.
Well, would you have work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday?
Oh, God.
Would you have a border?
My body's not really built for that.
Exactly. But would you have a border with 1 million women on this side and 1 million on this side ready to kill each other? I don't know. But I studied matriarchal tribes and I studied matriarchal species, and they don't operate like this. So I built that world to give me an idea of what it could look like. And I bring ideas from that world, and invaluable and values actually came from that world. And so like that, I have created these other worlds. And I think the future is actually ours to build. And I think a new energy is coming. I think new vibrations are coming that are going to help us create a much better world. Just like, and in order to do that, we need to use our imaginations, and we need to stop thinking dystopian. We need to stop thinking from what's already created, and we need to start afresh. What if, for example, we actually allowed kids, so this is one of the other planets, Pluton, what if we allowed kids to really be kids and continue to be kids, instead of saying, right, go to school, study these subjects because we think this is good for you? What if we allowed them to just expand? We think kids are so brilliant when they're growing up, and then suddenly they get to 5 and we're like, go to school, study all of these things, go to university. What if we allowed them to just be? So on that planet, everyone follows the kids, and kids under the age of 14 make up all the principles that the planet runs by.
I think when we're wise enough to actually listen to our kids and know they're doing their best, and we truly connect with them, we're curious, as they are naturally curious.
Exactly. We change. We become so much more open to experiences.
And how do these 7 worlds interconnect? What's the red wire? What?
So Ojas, my protagonist, she has to get into this institute. So she has to do all these tests to get into this institute. But all the tests are to do with examining, not examining, but examining our life. And she has to do experiments on herself. And she meets people from the other planets who are also trying to get into the institute. And the aim is for everyone to help each other. It's not a competition. Everyone can get into the institute. So how do we help each other to get into the institute? How can I bring my perspective and see something that's happening in you and help you grow? And that's what they do.
Oh, so it's pretty much like we do it here in We Come From the Future. It's co-creating.
The future is co-creation. It's not competition. It's about co-creation and collaboration.
Oh, I wish that wisdom was accessible to everyone. So, Vandana, can you leave us with some last thoughts? We're coming to the end of this. This has just been beautiful, and thank you so much for taking me through this values journey that I didn't know I had, and for explaining what you're doing in building people ecosystems and for all these planets. I can't wait to discover the other 5. But what would your last thoughts be that you want to end this discussion with?
I think if you've ever, I'm saying to all the people who are listening to this, if you've ever had that gut feeling that you should be doing something different, it's probably right. And I know people say, trust your intuition, and then you go and trust it, and then you make a mistake and you say, oh, I'm never going to do that again. And you stop trusting your gut. I would say to you, trust again and trust again, because what's happening inside you, your body knows so much more than your brain does. Your brain has been conditioned so much to what's going on, and your families and society and social media. But ultimately, your compass lies inside. So sit down and really think about what it is that you care about, what it is that you love, what it is that makes you feel happy, and find the words that make that real for you. And honestly, if you have to fight everyone else to be that, then do it, because you're worth it. You are not a cog in a wheel. You are not running around like a hamster. You don't have to be that person. And just imagine if everyone really did listen to themselves, imagine what that world could look like.
Well,
And we will
Vandana,
be the future.
Vandana, I hope all our listeners here are going to think about how can they best listen to themselves.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your words of wisdom. And our time is up, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us on We Come From the Future. Dear friends, you've just heard Vandana Saxena Poria, OBE, Chief Alarmist at the Human Alarm Clock. You can find out more about her and her projects on thehumanalarmclock.com, and you can find us at noivenimdinvictor.ro. We're also available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We also offer Radio NVDV, a radio station created with artificial intelligence. We have news, music, and stories from and about the future. You can listen to it on noivenimdinvictor.ro as well as on Android and iOS. I'm Laura Perrin, and I look forward to seeing you on We Come From the Future. Take care, and don't worry, we come from the future and everything is okay.